Hello, I'm Andy.
Hi, it's Dave.
Hi, it's Kirk.
So, morning, guys. How you all doing?
Good, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, busy weekend. Another morning, another day of reactions.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Ready to go. Well, it's you're going to kick this one off, actually, Andy, today. So it's one of your requests that you messaged me about. So it's Angel Witch and Waltz the Knight.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Why are we reacting to this?
Right, we're reacting to this one because, as the viewers may or may not know, we're involved in another project where we're endeavouring to contact and meet some of our musical idols. One guy on my list is Dave Tatum, who was one time vocalist of Angel Witch in the early 80s, sort of 83, 84, 85 sort of period. He'd done 2 albums with the band. I personally think it's their best material, certainly very different from the debut Angel Witch album, which is very famous in the new wave of British heavy metal scene, and the subsequent ones that they've done in more recent years with new lineup. Kevin Hayborn seems to have shied away from this material a little bit, but I think it's fantastic. I think Dave Tatum is a fantastic vocalist, really nice guy, and looking forward to having a chat with him for our project.
Okay.
So,
Kirk, you've heard Angel Witch, I'm assuming?
yeah, I like the first album. The debut album is very influential on Metallica, Megadeth, even the band Death. Often name-checked, Celtic Frost have name-checked it. So I only know that album. I don't know any of the Dave Tatum material because I can't find it on streaming platforms. So looking forward to this, Andy.
Okay. Well, I'm a complete noob when it comes to Angel Witch. I've never heard a single thing from them. So this will be, I'm an Angel Witch virgin. So here we go. Let's break the Angel Witch cherry for me. And
that's the strangest thing that you'll say all day.
Yeah, probably. Let's go check out some Angel Witch. Go.
For
we go. Angel Witch and Waltz the Night. I think as the newbie, I should go first on this on first impression. I really liked it. I didn't know if Andy knew if I was going to like this or not, but I actually did. It was a surprise for me because it wasn't the style that I thought it was going to be coming from Andy. I thought it was going to be a little bit more screaming, a little bit more aggressive. You can almost hear that they are they're hanging their influences on their guitars very clearly. That's a very Sabbathy track. It screams of Black Sabbath from start to the end, but it sounds really good. I really like it. Love the solo, thought that was great. I also love the production on this. It's not overproduced. It reminded me of like Def Leppard's Through the Night album. It sounds like they got into a studio, mic'd everything up and just recorded from start to finish. There was none of this, but they did it really well in that sense. They didn't go back track over track and then re-record little snippets and stuff like that. At one point near the end, I kind of like looked up to the corner, which I tend to do whenever I hear something that makes me think they've hit a bum note or something. And I'm like, hang on, was that right? And normally on my other channel, I would roll it back and have to go, hang on, I've got to have a listen to that because you shook. It sounds like there was just one little momentary glitch where he hit a slightly off note and quickly moved his finger to the right position. But it was probably just my ears picking up something wrong there. But I really liked it. And actually, as soon as he sort of got into the first sort of 30 seconds of it, I can almost hear some of the influences of Angel Witch in your playing, Andy, in your guitar tone and sound. I could hear some of the stuff. When I was watching you on Friday at your gig and I was watching it again, I was sort of went straight to, as soon as I heard that, I was like, yeah, I can hear the influences in some of the Nomadic Rain sort of stuff as well here. I don't know if that's just me.
Thank you very much.
But yeah, no, really liked it. So I'm glad you picked that one. Kirk, I suppose you should go next.
Yeah, Andy, what year was this album?
That was on Screaming and Bleeding. So that would have been, I think, 83, 84.
Wow.
1985.
The reason I ask is, one, I was shocked by how heavy it was because the first album, the self-titled, is a lot faster, but the production, let's be honest, nowadays, if you heard that, it wouldn't even qualify as a demo, that first Angel Witch album. I know people like it for that, but I did not expect that to predate Candlemass. That is so heavy for the early 1980s. And I didn't even know they had that Doom Black Sabbath element to them because there's a lot of speed, isn't there, on the stuff with Kevin Hayborn, the album everybody likes and cites as an influence. That's as good as the debut album. And do you know which band it reminds me of? And I could never work them out. And I reviewed their album last year. They're on Nuclear Blast, that American band Chemist. Have you heard any of their stuff?
No.
I review it, and every time I'm baffled by that band. I'm like, what does it sound like? I don't know if it's intentional, but now I can identify it. That is so ahead of its time. You would think that album came out in the early 90s. And there's even elements in that where if someone said this is an Alice in Chains song, you'd agree with them. So the vocals as well, absolutely no cliches in there. You just assume, don't you, anything heavy metal from the 80s is going to be operatic. There's going to be a lot of showmanship and still a lot of blues in the voice. There was a dark blues element to the voice there, but very gruff, wasn't it, as well? And even the solo really avoided any of the cliches of the 80s. That was quite a dissonant guitar solo, wasn't it? So I am really shocked by how good that was. And I just regret that I've not listened to it before. But as I said, it's not easy to get hold of this material. So do you want me to join you in the interview with Dave Tatum?
Absolutely.
I would happily join it. And I need to get on YouTube and listen to those albums. We're listening to a band that are clearly underappreciated for the stuff they've done with Dave Tatum. And you said Kevin Hayborn. Did he play any of these songs, the current incarnation?
They don't, but there are a couple of songs from the Dave Tatum albums which have been reworked, re-recorded for Angel of Light and As Above, So Below. That particular one, the lyrics have certainly been taken across. The sort of song structure is a little bit different, but it's Witching Hour on As Above, So Below. So right. There is some sort of appreciation from Kevin Hayborn for this older material, because that is one of sort of two or three that he's brought forward to the 21st century on the Angel Witch later albums. You say about the vocals, Kirk. I've actually realised, listening to it sort of for the first time quite a long time, that Mr. Tatum, their voices are very, very similar. But I think Kevin Hayborn, perhaps Dave will correct us, perhaps the viewers in the comments will correct me, but I think Kevin does the majority of the vocals on that particular song, and Dave does the chorus. But they are very similar vocally if you listen to the two albums. It's, even as a die-hard fan, it's sometimes hard for me to determine which of those guys are doing the particular lines in the songs. They do share a lot of the vocal duties.
Why do they not get enough credit for the post Black Sabbath doom that we trace back to Trouble, don't we, in Chicago in the early 80s, and then obviously the Swedish legends Candlemass? And I know Trouble really came onto the scene in 1984, so it predates that, doesn't it? It sounds like it's around the same time. But I'm thinking that definitely predates Doomicus Metallicus, doesn't it, by Candlemass?
By a couple of years, yeah.
But no one seems to talk about this. I mean, is the whole album like this? That real heavy.
That is the sort of slowest, doomiest track on the album. There are, the rest are a little bit more sort of melodic and upbeat, which is perhaps why they're sort of shied away from. Because as I say, it's very different from the debut album. But I just really like, the songs that are in, on those two albums. You mentioned Candlemass earlier, Kirk, and also just now. An Angel Witch song that sort of predates these albums, sort of in between the debut and these Dave Tatum ones, sort of was borrowed by Candlemass. The Angel Witch called it "The Night Is Calling," and I cannot for the life of me remember exactly what Leif Edeling sort of reworked it as, but it's on the liner notes on the re-release of Epicus Doomicus Metallicus, I believe. It clearly states that Candlemass borrowed the song with Kevin Hayborn's blessing. You see,
so we have explicit proof that we're listening to.
I mean, this is the sort of the doomiest one out of that period. Probably why I picked it. And also I do like the fact that Kevin Hayborn has brought it forward to, a sort of 21st century reincarnation of that same track. So I just think. I can't put my finger on it because, as David said, it wasn't what he was expecting that I would come up with as a suggestion for this. It is sort of different from my usual style of music, but I really, really do genuinely love these albums that the band put out during that period. And it's a real shame, as you said, Kurt, they've been overlooked, hard to get hold of, not on the streaming services. I've got my vinyl copies still. CD versions are not originals, they're sort of, I don't think bootlegs as such, but they're sort of reissues that not from Kilowatt, the record label at the time. I think I've got like a Brazilian bootleg. I've got a version that combines the best songs, sort of half the songs from Screaming and Bleeding, half the songs from Frontal Assault, and that's promoted as Frontal Assault, which is really strange. They were recorded very closely together, I think, in the space of about a year at the same studio, probably with the same, engineer and production staff. So they sound very similar. So you mix those songs together on one sort of compilation, you can't tell sort of any difference, but they are a collection of sort of 15, 16 fantastic songs.
It sounds like, which label was it in the 80s that put this out?
Kilowatt, I've got who distributed my vinyls. You heard of them? Is that going way back?
No. Do you know what it reminds me of?
That one.
Reminds me of when Celtic Frost were on Noise Records, the label that hosted Voivod, Creator, Sabbath. And I remember reading the liner notes to Celtic Frost CD reissue of Into the Pandemonium. Apparently Noise Records at that time said, these CDs, they'll never catch on. No, we're not going to issue it on CD. It's not the future. It's not going to happen. Clearly, it's not the future now, is it? Very few.
Go down the mini disc route, did they?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm good.
I loved mini discs. They were awesome. Anyway, I just want before I just wrap up this one, it's I just found it interesting. You said they were ahead of their time, and I said that they sounded like, I would say, Dio era Sabbath, which came out in 79 to 84, 85. Because I could imagine that song, if you had Ronnie James Dio on it, you would go, yeah, that just sounds like Sabbath. That particular track, I could easily have heard that. and yet you said they were ahead, which is just kind of a bit of a weird one. But that's
can I
just how we heard it.
Can I just clarify that? It's because I'm looking ahead that obviously because of grunge, Black Sabbath, the music became very influential again, didn't it?
Yeah.
In the early 90s. And then you had, if you look at that album Master of Reality from 1971, that sets the foundation, doesn't it, for stoner rock and stoner metal. And that doesn't really catch on until the early 90s as well. So just to clarify, when I say it's ahead of its time, it's because I know what came after.
Okay.
Broke into the mainstream, and metal, if you look in the 90s, slows down a lot, doesn't it? Groove metal, obviously grunge, sludge. So that's what I meant.
That's what you clarified. Okay. I thought you were just off your rocker again. Fair enough. Okay, right. Well, if you enjoyed this video, please do subscribe, click the bell icon, like and share, and we will all see you on another video sometime very soon. Take care.